Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Legal Hour. My name is MC Chaka. I'm your host for this beautiful program. Legal Hour is a time that we bring you various issues confronting mostly Ghanaian people and African in the UK. We talk about immigration issues, we talk about employment, we talk about family law. There are a lot of things that we discuss during this time. All the legal areas in the UK mostly, and then other part of the world we sometimes share with you as well. Tonight I'm here with my usual guest, lawyer Beyebenwo from City Law Solicitors. Lawyer has been very, very good coming with us all the time, and this program is proudly sponsored by City Law Solicitors. So tonight we're here to talk to viewers and educate ourselves in area of immigration, and our topic for tonight is unlawful detention. Immigration has been an issue for a lot of people, and I think it's about time that we educate ourselves with the causes, with the effects, with issues confronting immigrants in this country. So tonight, lawyer is going to take his time to talk about the immigration law, to talk about detention. A lot of people have been detained unlawfully. So if you have anyone in the UK or anyone wanting to come to the UK, this topic is really good for you. So please contact your friends, your family to tune in right now with the subscription that we've given. If you go to Facebook, it's Thomas Beyebenwo. If you go to YouTube, it's Thomas Beyebenwo. And enjoy this beautiful program that we bring to you every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. I'm going to welcome lawyer to the program as I do all the time. And then we will start with the questions. I've got a lot of questions for lawyer, and as competent as he is, I know you'll be able to answer all the questions, and all your immigration issues will be resolved. So, lawyer, welcome to Legal Hour with MC Chaka. It's been amazing to have you all the time for this program, on this show. You've done really well coming for this program and enjoying with viewers. You have done exactly what Napoleon couldn't do, because every time when you come on this show, you educate people, you give us the impression that you are there to support people from Africa and other parts of the world. So I'm going to welcome you, lawyer, to the program, and we will take it from there. Welcome to the show, lawyer Beyebenwo.
Thank you, MC Chaka.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be in this studio and
great.
Give update of the law to our friends and family who are always there for us and willing to learn so that they can update themselves with everything that is happening in the United Kingdom.
Okay, well done. So, lawyer, before then, I know you're a very soft-spoken guy, and that is the nature anyway, but please, for the benefit of our viewers, can you please speak a bit more up for them to hear you clearly, because sometimes they do bring comments that they can't really hear you, but I mean, just speak up a bit that they can hear you, please. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's good. Before we start, I just want you to tell us a bit about your firm and, as we do all the time, where you are located.
Thank you, MC Chaka, and good evening, everyone who is watching us tonight. This program is proudly brought to you by City Law Solicitors. City Law Solicitors are located in Barking. Our office address is Unit 113, Barking Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Barking, IG 118FG. We are very close to the Barking train station. In fact, just about 2 minutes walking distance from the station. We specialize in numerous areas of law, notably immigration, nationality and asylum law. We also specialize in employment law. We specialize in family law, where we deal with proposed divorce and child arrangement orders and some aspects of the public law. We also specialize in media and entertainment, those who have specialist knowledge, especially musicians who want to protect those talents with copyright. We can also assist them to be drafting those agreements to ensure that they can get the maximum benefit from their talents. We specialize in civil litigation and commercial dispute, and we also do a lot of personal injury and clinical negligence. So these are the areas of our specialization. Tonight we are going to discuss unlawful detention, and I'm sure the host will have a lot of questions for me, and I'm ready to go through them as and when they become necessary. Thank you.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much, lawyer, for the intro that you've given. So as you mentioned, tonight we're talking about unlawful detention. We know a lot of people have been detained unlawfully, but then before I go on to the main topic, unlawful detention, I just want to ask you this quickly. Can there be a detention that could be lawfully as well? We have lawful detention and unlawful detention. What is the difference?
Yes, of course, there are a lot of detentions, that immigration detentions, to be specific, that are lawful. And there are some of them that are also unlawful, and that depends on the powers of the Secretary of State. Obviously, as we go along, we establish under what circumstances that detention are lawful. But even when detentions are lawful, in the course of time, if one is detained longer than is required, then of course it can even become unlawful. So it's either detention is straight away unlawful under the powers of the Secretary of State, or it becomes unlawful in the course of time. And we'll be looking at all this.
Okay. All right, that's fine. So when we talk about immigration detention, what is that?
Yes, we are signed up to the European Convention, and it's very valid. The point is that there is a presumption for liberty under Article 5 of the EHCR, European Convention on Human Rights. So normally when we say immigration detention, that occurs when those liberties are taken away from the individuals, which means that people are kept in a secluded area or in accommodation under the powers of the Secretary of State. So that's what we would normally call immigration detention.
Okay, lawyer, thank you very much for that. So under which powers can a person be detained? Well, because you just mentioned under the powers of the Secretary. Under which powers can people be detained?
Yes, the powers of the Secretary of State is to establish law, and those powers are varied. Some of the powers are under the Schedule 10 of Paragraph 2, subsection 2 to 3 of the Immigration Act, and then we also have some of it under the Section 32 of the UK Borders Act 2007. Now, what it simply means is that there are some categories of people who can be detained under those powers, and those people could be those who have perhaps served their sentence for more than 1 year, and they are likely to be deported, and some other circumstances which, of course, we'll be looking at them. They are numerous.
Okay, you mentioned circumstances anyway. So my next question is, under what circumstances can people be detained?
Yes, obviously, people can be detained under numerous circumstances. People can be detained, notably, for example, when they are issued a visa and they are coming into this country. The immigration officers at the border, which I have just specified, have powers to suspend those visas, and if they do suspend those visas, they are able to detain them pending some interview and investigations. Secondly, they can also detain them if those visas are cancelled. So if, for example, there is entry clearance visa and then they get to the border, they can be detained if those visas are cancelled. Thirdly, they could also be detained, as I've said earlier, if, for example, they are serving deportation order. Those circumstances, they can also be detained. If people, for example, have had application and they have exhausted all appeal rights, and obviously they are apprehended by immigration officers, and then they can also be detained. So it's numerous circumstances that may give rise to someone being detained under the powers of the Secretary of State.
Okay, viewers, if you are watching us, this is Legal Hour. My name is MC Chaka, and I'm here with lawyer Beyebenwo from City Law Solicitors. Tonight we're discussing unlawful detention, and we all know the danger, whatever it causes to people who are immigrants coming to the UK, people who are already in the UK. It has caused a lot of hardship to family. So lawyer is taking his time today. Please, this is free legal advice. So make sure that you contact people, you share the link for everyone to benefit from this free advice that lawyer is giving. And tonight's topic is very important because sometimes you do hear that, oh, my brother was coming from Ghana, my sister coming from Ghana and has been detained, and obviously that could lead to deportation. So these are some of the things that we need to abreast ourselves with, and to make sure that when we find ourselves or our relatives in such situations, we'll be able to know what measures we can use to obviously support them. So lawyer is done really well, City Law Solicitors, and he's giving us for free. This is the sponsorship that we're getting from them. So please make sure you tune in and then share with everyone. Lawyer, before we continue with the questions, let me acknowledge some few people who are watching us. My viewers, you mean a lot to me. So anytime I come on this show, I have to acknowledge you, because without you, this program will never move forward. So I would like to acknowledge a couple of people who have tuned in and watching us from Facebook. I've got Cornelia from Poma Jima. Let's all invite friends. It's time. All right, Cornelia. Well said. It's time to invite all friends and family, because this is legal advice and it's free. So why don't you enjoy it? Please, it's going to help you out. And Nana Frema, good evening, lawyer. Lawyer Nana Frema says good evening. All right. Freddie Kwao Asari. I'm standing by, counsel. That's right. Thank you very much for watching, Freddie. Cornelia, again, let's keep sharing to remind our families. Thank you, Cornelia. Desmond Benia, I'm watching you live from Wellingborough. Thank you very much for watching, Desmond. Okay, Ajima, Officer Chaka of Ashanti Mampong. Yeah, that's me, Ashanti Mampong. That's me, that's my hometown, Officer Chaka. Abrantepa Kwame, sorry. Lawyer, please raise your voice. Yes, lawyer is aware of that. Yeah, he will raise his voice. Lawyer is naturally soft-spoken person, but I've advised him to raise his voice so that he can be well heard by everyone. Nana Frema, great job, lawyer. Great job. Cornelia from Poma, great introduction. Thank you very much, Cornelia. Chidera Duru. Oh, hi, Duru. How you doing? Can't hear your voice, please. All right, lawyer, please, you're going to have to raise the voice next time.
Yes.
Amma Sikansa, I'm watching you live from Ghana. Thank you very much, Sister Amma. Thank you very much for watching. Adolf Pega, nice one, MC Chaka. Hey, Senior Adolf, Senior, one and only. That's right. Thank you very much for watching, Senior Adolf. Adolf says, Thomas, you're doing a good job. Yeah, that's a good compliment from Adolf to Thomas. Abena Kwachiwa, good evening. Ella Oten, good job, lawyer. Francis Apia Akwe, my own cousin, Kwesi Apia, nice one, cuz. Thank you very much, Kwesi, for watching. All right, viewers, make sure you share, you invite people to also benefit from this beautiful topic that we're discussing today. I'll move on to the questions and ask lawyer a couple of questions that obviously he needs to answer. So, lawyer, are you ready?
Yes.
Please raise your voice for the benefit of people. Please. Try. I know you're soft spoken, but please.
I'll try and raise my voice.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, when you talk about detention and Immigration Act, which people are classified as vulnerable, and if they are, can they be detained under the Immigration Act? Vulnerable people under the law, can they be detained?
Yes. Yes, there are certain people that are not under the guidance of the Secretary of State, are not to be detained, and those people are what you call, for example, vulnerable adults. There are people such as people with mental health issues. People may have, for example, people who are noted to have some mental health issues. Those who have been tortured, there is evidence of, for example, torture or FGM, female genital mutilation. Those who have gone through those stuff. People who are, for example, age more than 70, those people are considered as vulnerable. And obviously, there are other 3 main people who are also considered very vulnerable. In fact, it's enshrined in law. This is not under the guidance, and I'm sure I'm going to look at it, which is, for example, children, pregnant women, and other people with these mental health issues. So these people are obviously considered as vulnerable, and under it is only very limited circumstances that those people could be detained. For example, when removal is very imminent, otherwise it will be unlawful to detain those people beyond a certain period.
Okay, lawyer. Let me come in with more questions in regards to that vulnerability. So let's say if someone has come from Ghana, reaching the airport, and the person probably couldn't answer questions correctly, and has been it has come to a point for them to detain the person.
Yes.
And through their assessment, they've realized that this person has got mental health issues. According to what you just said, under that, the person might not be detained or subject to detention. So what can they do with that person in that circumstances?
Yes, if that's as I've said, it's only very limited grounds, because, for example, somebody with mental health problem, you cannot put that person in a secluded detention center. So under those circumstances, if, for example, and I want people to listen very carefully, because when people are coming from abroad, they have various ways of getting bail, which I'll look at in our next section. So, for example, if such person is claiming that he has mental health problem, then the officer, if he has, for example, signed that he's not going to go back, then of course, automatically, if they are applying for bail, then that person should be released on what they call temporary admission. Because if that person is held under detention, then it will be against the Secretary of State's own guidance, and that is likely to be an unlawful detention, which obviously may attract damages in favor of that person who have been detained.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, if, let's say, someone has been detained and subject to deportation, can that person be entitled for a review? And if that is granted, what sort of criteria can be followed for a review to be granted for that person?
Yes. Again, some of these things, if are not done properly, may result in what they call unlawful detention. Now, there are 2 categories of people normally in the detention center. The first group of people are people who are not foreign criminals. Now, these group of people don't pose any danger to anyone. They probably would have been detained simply because they don't have leave to remain, or they are probably detained because their visa has been cancelled at the point of entry, or they are probably detained because they have made application, unsuccessful application. The application has been refused. They have exhausted all judicial remedies, namely appeals, and they have not sought to make new applications, so therefore they are on overstayers. So such people could be detained, but they are entitled to review the first 24 hours. They need to be reviewed. The reason being that when people are detained, they could have other means of showing that they have leave to remain. For example, if somebody is detained and doesn't have leave to remain, that person may have a child who is a British, which means that that person should be reviewed, and she should be able to give information about his or her personal circumstances, so that that could either aid either being released on bail or being continued to detain. So 24 hours, that person has to be reviewed. 48 hours, he has to be reviewed. And then 7 days, he has to be reviewed. And then 14 days, he has to be reviewed. And even monthly, he has to be reviewed, depending on how long that person is being kept there. Now, for those who are foreign criminals, which is those who are subject to deportation, and over here, when I say deportation, it's different from those who are being removed, as I've just prescribed. So these people are those who have served their sentence, custodial sentence, for more than a year, and one, either the court has recommended that those people should be deported, or two, the Secretary of State consider is that it is conducive for the public good that those people are deported, or it is said that there is an automatic deportation because they have served more than 12 months in prison. So when those people are removed from custody, which is from prison, and taken to deportation center, they are also entitled to monthly review to be able to give any evidence of circumstantial change of their personal life.
Okay, well, before I move to the next question, the next structured question, I just want to ask you this in between what you said, that if people are removed and deported, I know you've explored this in our previous sections anyway, but for the benefit of those who did not watch the previous program, can you explain the difference between deportation and then removal?
Yes, the difference between deportation and removal is that if you look at the Immigration Act 1971, Section 3, and then if you also look at the Borders, UK Immigration and Borders Act 2007, Section 32, it makes it clear people who are to be deported. So under the Immigration Act, if somebody have served, it's not a British or Irish, and that's why we did a program on those on British citizenship, and encourage people who are entitled to it to make sure that they can apply for their citizenship, because in the end, this becomes very, very necessary when we are looking at things like deportation. So under the Immigration Act, if the person is not a British or Irish, and that person has served 12 months custodial sentence, then automatically that person is liable to deportation. For those, or as I've said, if the secretary considers that the crime they have committed is such that they need to be deported for the public good, they can also be deported. If, for example, the court that sat on the criminal trial felt that they are making recommendations for that person to be deported, again, that person can be deported. But with removal, it is just those who don't have leave to remain, those who are on visit visa coming in and their visa is cancelled, and they are simply sent back home. Those people are not deported, because with deportation order, the person will have that order in place until the second time that it is applied to revoke, so it's life. Whilst removal, if for whatever reason your circumstances have changed, you can always come back to the United Kingdom.
So if I understood you clearly, that means deportation is linked to some sort of crime or criminal involvement.
That's right.
And removal is whereby the person has unlawfully come to the country and needs to be sent back to his country of origin.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much for that clarification. So we're moving on to our next question, lawyer. Let me ask you this. If, let's say, someone coming from Ghana gets detained at the airport, and then eventually they send the person to detention center, and the relative around they don't act early, what are some of the consequences? What could easily happen to the person who has been detained?
Yes, I want to take opportunity to advise people on what to do when they are coming from Ghana, for example, and they are detained. I said it last time, and I want to repeat myself again. The first port of call is that person, if he's being interviewed and he doesn't understand a tree language, English, he should ask for an interpreter. It's very important that that person asks for an interpreter before he speaks to the immigration officer. The second point is that that person is entitled to call a family member. So he should tell the family member, look, I'm held here under the powers of the Secretary of State, and I want perhaps legal assistance, so the family member can arrange for legal assistance. And if the person is to be detained, the family members are likely to also apply for a bail. I want to chip in this. Last week, Thursday, before it was actually Wednesday night, one of my potential clients called me around 11 p.m. in the night, and accordingly, the sister was coming from Ghana with British Airways. We should go to the port. She was detained. Two guys, herself and then another friend, on a visa for a program. He was detained, and then the guy called me. In the night, I tried to reach out to the immigration officers at Terminal 5. It was very difficult. Eventually, I was able to reach out to them, and then I managed to send authority form to the lady in the detention center. I started calling the immigration officers. In fact, they are quite sometimes they are quite difficult. So I called them several times. They ignored my calls. Eventually, eventually they answered the call. They told me, "Oh, your client says that he doesn't want you to represent her. She's already on the flight." So I called the family member and told her, "Look, if your sister ever calls you, tell her I've already made representation to the chief immigration officer and he should not board the flight." So he called the family member and he told her, "Look, I've already found a lawyer for you. So go and tell the immigration officers that you want to be represented." She came out of the flight. They acknowledged my representation. And you know what? By the time I finished that program, he has been released. The other guy, they had the same visa. He didn't get a lawyer. He's back in Ghana. This is last week.
Oh my God.
This is the importance of people getting lawyers who are able to put in place some of these things.
I mean, viewers, this is incredible. You see, if lawyer can bring someone who is already seated in the flight, ready to be deported or be removed back to the UK, then obviously we need to take it very seriously, because all immigration matters, you don't look further. All legal matters, don't look further. Lawyer Thomas Beyebenwo is the one that you need to contact. And I repeat myself, City Law Solicitors, they've done incredibly good. I have a testimony. I know a lot of people who immigration issues have been addressed and now they've regularized their stay in the UK. So viewers, make sure you call your family, you call everyone who is in similar situation to contact City Law Solicitors, because they are the ones that will help you to solve all your immigration matters. Not just that, they specialize in all aspects of law, immigration law, employment law, family law, personal injuries and clinical negligence, commercial disputes and civil litigations. And now there's a media law as well, whereby if you are a producer and you want to set up the paperwork and do everything to have a copyright or whatever, they can support you to do that. So this is the time that we need to make frequent contact with City Law Solicitors, because they've come to support us with all the inquiry areas that we benefit from. All right, lawyer. Viewers, we're going to go for a short commercial break. When we come back, I've got a couple of questions for lawyer, and later on, we will be able to open the phone lines for you to throw any question about immigration, detention to lawyer. He's very competent, he's very capable to answer all your questions. So don't go away, please stay tuned and invite or share this program. We'll be back for more questions. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. welcome back. If you've just joined us, my name is MC Chaka. I'm here with my usual guest, lawyer Thomas Beyebenwo from City Law Solicitors. We bring this program to you every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. and we discuss various aspects of law. And today or tonight we're discussing unlawful detention. We've gone through a lot of questions, and if you just joined us, please enjoy the program because a lot of people have been detained unlawfully, and this is ways and means that obviously people can be taken out of detention by City Law Solicitors. So lawyer has taken us through all the immigration laws that obviously will be applicable to detention. Now I've got a couple of questions for lawyer, but before then let me acknowledge a few people that are still watching this program. You guys really make the program exciting and your comments are duly acknowledged. So Nana Frema, great job lawyer. Cornelia, looking smart, my lawyer. Oba Sika Kwansema, watching you live from Clapham Park. Lawyer, keep up the good work. Good, Oba. Richmond Akwasi Ake, the papacy. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Anoli Chuki Opa, useful information is key. Thanks. Nana Poku Patterson, Ura, higher highs, bro. Thank you very much, Ura, for the motivation. Cornelia from Poma again. Wow, great. Never knew this. Happy to join in today. Agnes Abrefi, good evening, Chaka. Good job. Thank you very much, my dear sister Agnes. Kofi Wizzy, Beyebenwo, you that I was waiting la. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's the name. The boss lawyer Beyebenwo. Cornelia, was City Law Solicitor. So are you a legal with City Law Solicitors? Are your legal doctors? Trust me. Oh, okay. That is a compliment. I thought it was a question. Okay, legal doctors. Of course they are. Of course they are. So I've got a couple of questions for lawyer, and after that, the phone lines obviously will be opened, and we'll be able to take your questions. So stay tuned. Make sure you invite people. This program is every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. So make sure that you tune in and then you enjoy this beautiful topic. And every time it's very educative. Lawyer takes his time to analyze and obviously interpret the law to a layman's understanding. So let's continue with the questions. Lawyer, what factors are taken into account to continue to detain or keep someone in detention? If you want to consider that, what factors do they take into account in regards to detention?
Yes. Normally, if someone is kept in detention, we've already established that that person is entitled to review. And in the course of that review, that person will be able to give out some of the reasons why perhaps she's not liable to detention. If, for example, he has a child, if, for example, he's in a relationship, or any other reason, or maybe he's at risk of suffering serious harm, for example, being a gay or lesbian. So all these factors are to be looked at if the person is in detention. But as to whether how long that person will continue to be detained borders on the fact that whether that person has a record of absconding, for example, where in the past he's been asked to sign on and then he didn't show up, or where, for example, he has made an appeal and that appeal was unsuccessful, or the appeal was not meritorious, or, for example, that person has agreed that she may not want to continue to be in detention and then she wants to leave. So, or whether removal is imminent, which means that whether that person will be removed soon. So these are some of the things that we'll be taking into account under those circumstances.
All right. You mentioned absconding. So let's say if somebody has been detained and the person has, I mean, you've been able to support this person to come out from detention camp and the person goes absconded, would that have any consequences on you as a solicitor who represented the person? Or would there be any surety or anything that needs to be put in place before that person can be discharged from their detention?
Yes, that's a very good question. Obviously, the lawyer has no liability if somebody is, for example, granted bail with conditions and he absconds and he doesn't abide by those conditions. Secondly, family members will look at bail in the course of time. If they have previously called them shorties, now they call it financial conditions. If they have satisfied some financial conditions, then of course, in reality, I have not witnessed any. Normally, they will give financial conditions that maybe if the person absconds, they are giving about £1,000. But I have not even witnessed it in reality where somebody has been asked to make those payments while that person have absconded. But the fact is that normally, when somebody absconds, if he's granted bail, then if that person is unlucky and is apprehended by immigration officers, that means that he has a record of what? Absconding. It means that during the second detention, if a lawyer is seeking bail, then it's likely to be difficult and that person may be kept in detention for longer because the chief immigration officer may argue that this person is likely to abscond because he has a record of absconding.
All right. Thank you, lawyer. The reason why I asked this question, and I'm going to ask another one, which is quite similar to this. I remember there was a time when I called you that somebody I know was detained and likely to be removed because they were very doubtful about the visa the person was holding. So when I made contact with you, you called them and obviously spoke to them, and they left the person. They told the person that we're going to keep your passport here, so you're not going to go out with your passport, and you need to come back in 3 weeks' time to collect your passport. So when the person came in, you gave an advice, and then you used another application to help the person, and without the passport, you made an application to the Home Office, and the person was granted the visa, 5 years visa, with the passport that was never given to him back. So I just want to ask you, how did you manage to do that? I mean, that was amazing, but how did you manage to do that? I just want viewers to know exactly what you did, obviously, to support this person.
Yes, I still remember this case. That's why I was saying, I think under that time when I did that case for that family member of yours, it was a time then we were relying on the European regulation. So I remember this client came in with a visit visa for a program, and at the border they were doubtful of the fact that he will return at the end of the visit, and which is the reason why most times people are detained anyway. So I remember he contacted me, I spoke to them, and then we made some representation. Eventually he was released on bail. But the fact is that then under let's say the case, under the EU regulations, he was in a relationship with somebody who was starting from Belgium. So it is on those circumstances that that application was made. And he didn't require to have a visa then, because with EU nationals, family members, they don't require to have valid visa to make in-country application. And therefore, once the application was made, the circumstances has changed. Therefore, the immigration officers were obliged to surrender the passport. So it's on that basis that that case was held.
Yeah, that was incredible, and I mean, we're still thankful to you for the great support that you did for that family member. I've got a couple of questions for you, lawyer. So, is there a maximum period after which detention becomes unlawful? When someone is detained, do they have a time lapse that it becomes unlawful?
This is a very good question. Essentially, there is no maximum period. However, if somebody is being kept in detention, then one, there has to be a reason. When I start out this presentation, I made it clear that under Article 5 of the European Convention on Human Rights, there is a presumption of liberty, which means that people should not be held in detention unless there is a very good reason. So that's the starting point. Now, having established that starting point or that basis, that means that if somebody was to be held in detention, then there has to be a very valid reason. The valid reason could be that, for example, removal is imminent. So if Home Office have not set a date for removal, then whichever lawyer is representing the client could rely on the uncertainty of the fact that removal may not happen soon to apply for bail because removal is not imminent. Or if, for example, that person is, say, in detention and the Secretary of State has not made any plans of taking that person, or if the person, for example, has made an appeal, and that appeal is meritorious, which means that it's likely, and I've used this one to get a lot of people out of detention, because sometimes you put in an application, they may refuse it, you put in an appeal, the appeal will probably take much longer. So while the appeal, the court is independent of the immigration Secretary of State. So the court has their own schedules. The court might take longer. These days it could even take 6 months before a case will be listed for hearing. So under those circumstances, the Home Office cannot continue to keep that person in detention. But as long as none of these factors are existing, then of course, removal has to be imminent. Otherwise, there is no maximum time for holding that person.
Okay, then removal needs to be imminent. Otherwise, there wouldn't be maximum time to hold this person. Thank you very much, lawyer. Let me ask you this question. It's very important. You know, sometimes when you've managed to help somebody out of detention and that person is required to sign in,
Yes.
maybe weekly or depending on the conditions that will come with, the agreement that will be transferred between the person and Home Office.
Yeah.
So whether weekly or whatever, but mostly it's weekly. There could be a situation whereby this person will go and then all the family will say, oh, the person has been detained again. What really causes that? And what can you do in your capacity as a lawyer to help in these situations?
Yes, that's a very good question. I always advise people, obviously, when people are in those circumstances, they call it temporary admission. So those people are liable to detention, but either because they've not made a decision to detain, because to detain, decision has to be made taking into account the full circumstances of that person. So normally when people are asked to sign on, it means they are on temporary admission. And those people should be careful. The reason being that each time they go there to sign on, for whatever reason they are signing on, it means that they are liable to detention. Or sometimes some of these people, removal direction has already been issued, but maybe that removal direction has elapsed. So if they continue to sign on, and I'm not advising because there is a balance, if they don't sign on and then maybe, as I've said, there is they are detained, then there is a risk, there is that risk of absconding which could hinder their bail application. But the fact is that there is also a risk that if they go there, they can be detained. So that is why most people sometimes they go to sign on and then they end up being detained in the course of their journey of going to sign on, and they don't come back.
That could be an unfortunate situation, isn't it? Because normally when people are allowed to come out of detention, they think everything is okay. I'm only signing on. But so if, for instance, someone is meant to sign on and the person sort of does not comply to these conditions or requirements, and the person goes absconded, and later on in life the person get other means, it could be maybe becoming a father to a breached child or whatever means to be legal in this country, can they penalize the person based on the fact that he or she failed to comply with the regulations in regards to signing in with detention?
Yes, obviously, I think these days, looking at the Appendix FM, the Appendix EU, and then the I would be surprised if there is any way of penalizing that person. The reason being that if, for example, you made application as a father of a British child or a mother of a British child, it is already admitted that you are illegal, and therefore you are claiming human right on the basis of your Article 8, which is family life. And that takes precedence over any overstay. So I'm just going through my mind whether there is any circumstances where these things could be used against that person. And I don't seem to find any reason that it could be used against that person. The reason being that if you are making application for unlawful resident, it is 20 years. So whether you used to sign on and you never sign on, it is immaterial, because what matters is that have you resided here unlawfully for 20 years? That is what will be taken into account, and not whether or not that person was signing on. That's why I always advise people, the choice is yes. When they come out, they need to do something about their situation. Some people have been signing on, thinking that by signing on, something will change. It doesn't change. They need to change their circumstances by regularizing their stay.
Of course. All right, viewers, thank you very much for watching. The program is still on. My name is MC Chaka. This is Legal Hour with lawyer Thomas Beyebenwo. We're going to go for a quick commercial break. This program is proudly sponsored by City Law Solicitors. We need to acknowledge them. City Law Solicitors are located at Unit 113 Barking Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Barking, and the postcode is IG118FG. So it's not too far from the Barking train station in London. For those of you that knows London Barking, it's not too far from the station. That you can contact them anytime that you are there. Lawyer will put the number on the screen, and of course we will be able to announce the number as well. We're going to open the phone lines, but before then, I want lawyer to wrap up quickly, and then to hint on certain things that obviously might benefit people who have just joined this conversation. So lawyer, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions that I've already asked you for you to give a quick wrap up, and then I'll open the phone line straight away. So we've spoken today about unlawful detention, and then you have addressed immigration detention, and then the powers under which people can be detained, and what circumstances that someone can be detained, and what are the statutory limits of detention. These 4 questions that I've already asked you, can you just give a brief summary, and for the benefit of viewers who have just joined, and we'll take a break. After that, we'll continue.
Great.
I know it's very, I know it's, what do you call it? You're a bit tired, but obviously, please do as Diana, please.
No, it's always a pleasure to be on this platform, knowing that people are watching, and in fact, this advice is free, but it is very, very significant that people take it so seriously, because people must know their right. And as we have been discussing today, we've been looking at unlawful detention, and we've looked at the powers of the Secretary of State, and to what extent those powers could be used to detain illegal immigrants or those with served with deportation orders. Now, if you look at these 2 categories of people, and we have established that there is a limitation to the Secretary of State's powers in terms of detaining individuals. And one of the limitations is a child who is under 18 years old. So if, for example, those who, for whatever reason, they are in this country, there is no record of they are coming into this country, the shocking news is that if somebody is apprehended by the Secretary of State or immigration officer, then that person is saying that he's 18 years under 18 years, then there is a limitation to detain that person, because that person cannot be detained more than 24 hours. If beyond 73 hours, the Minister of the Crown needs to give permission for that detention to go ahead. And the shocking news is that even if that officer have reasonable belief that this person is more than 18 years, it doesn't necessarily mean that he can say detain that person, for the simple reason that that person is saying is under 18 years. That's one limitation and one advantage for those who know their right under those circumstances. The second circumstance is that families with children. And in this case, you could have children in the house, immigration officer turns up there. Now, officers are not required to detain families with children in a detention center. In fact, even if they need to detain them, it's only under very limited circumstances. And I remember many years ago, I was watching a TV, somebody was apprehended, he was taken to the police station, and then a family member was that lawyer was very good, giving advice. They sent the child to the family member in that police station and left the child there. What happens? The person has to be released. Because if that person has a child, then he cannot be detained.
Yeah.
It is only when that person is being removed, and in that case, maybe 24 hours, beyond 24 hours to 74 hours, that officer needs the permission of the Minister of the Crown to continue to detain that person. And in fact, they cannot be held in the ordinary detention center. They have to be held in what they call accommodation. So that's second point. The other point is, for example, people who are more than 70 years old. Again, if you are here and you are claiming to be 70 years old, if the immigration officer turn up and you're able to show that, then he's limited to detain such person. And most importantly, those who are pregnant. If you are pregnant, they are not supposed to detain you. And I remember I have dealt with a case in the past, that's about 6-7 years ago, beginning of my career. I had a client who was coming from Nigeria. She was detained, and then she was almost being removed. And then I made a representation to the chief immigration officer, just for the sheer fact that I said that this client is pregnant. That is the end. He was just released. So people need to know their right. It is not everybody that can be detained. And above all, people who are vulnerable adults. If, for example, this is in camera, but if, for example, if you are claiming to have mental issues, then of course they need to go and have medical report. Yeah. And this obviously might make detention very, 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 very difficult. So there are various rights that people can rely on not to be detained, but it's just because of the fact that people don't know these rights. They are either held in detention in silence, and sometimes they are even removed. I just gave an example of somebody who boarded a flight, and I was able to make representation for that person to be removed from the flight, and now he's in this country. The other person who didn't have any lawyer is now back in Ghana. So these people need to know their rights, and this is why we are doing this program, which is unlawful detention. It's an opportunity for people to share these messages to their family and friends.
Well, lawyer, thank you very much. I'm quite conscious with time. I'm going to open the phone lines, but then before then, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'll open the phone lines. And viewers, you can pose any question to lawyer, whether it's immigration, to do with detention, to do with any immigration aspect at all for today. Just pose the question, and lawyer is here to answer your questions. So please stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be back and take all the questions. Please take the phone number, it's just on the screen. The phone number is on the screen. The number to call when we come back is 079 329 34518. That's 079 329 34518. And then we've got another number which is 0744 033 8623. We're going for a short commercial break. When we come back, the lines will be open and we'll take your calls. Please stay tuned, don't go away. welcome back, viewers. So it's time for questions. Lawyer is ready to answer all questions. The number to call is 079 329 34518. 079 329 34518. And the other number is 074 40 33 8623. That is 074 40 33 8623. These are the two studio numbers. Please call to get your your questions answered, because lawyer has given all the explanation in relation to unlawful detention. So if you have any other immigration question at all, please make sure this is your opportunity to ask lawyer questions. If you don't call, that will give me the implication that lawyer has done really well today, and that everybody has got the message clearly. You know what I mean? So it's time for viewers to make sure they call. Lawyer, whilst we wait for people to call, we still need to wrap up with some of the topics that, some of the questions that I raised earlier on. Circumstances that detention can be unlawful, and then which people are categorized as vulnerable. And you've done that one in a way. Are those in detention entitled for review? That is a very good question as well. Under what circumstances would the power of detention of the Secretary of State lapse? What factors are taken into account to continue to detain or to keep someone in detention? And then the maximum period of which detention can be unlawful. So please, as we wait for people to call, please do us the honor and then wrap up quickly for those who have just joined this program to obviously get to the bottom of it and understand what we're really talking about today.
Guys, tonight we've been talking about unlawful detention. So we'll be looking at circumstances that detention would be unlawful. We have established that the starting point is looking at the powers of the Secretary of State, which is obviously exercised by the immigration officers or the Chief Immigration Officer. And those powers need to be exercised as prescribed by Parliament, or they have to follow the policy guidance of the Home Office. And therefore, we've gone through it and we found out that there are some forms of detention that are unlawful. For example, a child under 18 years cannot be detained. Even if he's detained, it has to be up to 24 hours, beyond 72 hours or 7 days. The permission from Crown, which is the Crown Minister, Secretary of State, is required to keep that child in detention. And even if that immigration officer has reasonable suspicion to believe otherwise, which means that to suspect that that child is more than 18 years, it doesn't say give that person the right to detain that child. If somebody is pregnant, so if you were coming from Ghana or anywhere and then you got at the border and then you were being detained, you need to first make them aware that if you're a woman and you are pregnant, you need to let them know that you are pregnant. And under those circumstances, you will not be detained. Even if you are detained, you have to be released, depending on how long, because normally 24 hours. From 7 days, they need the powers of the permission of the Secretary of State. And for those with children, I know that some people will fall into this. Currently, there are people who can make application. For example, if the child is born here and is 7 years or more, then of course that parent can make application to the Home Office to regularize their stay, those parents, and the child himself or herself is entitled to make application. But what if your child is less than 7 years and the immigration officers come to your residence and then they are seeking to detain you? You need to make them aware that you have a family. So under those circumstances, if you have a child, then they are not supposed to detain you. Their detention will be unlawful. If, for example, you people are detained for more than 24 hours or 72 hours or 7 days or more without the permission of the Crown Minister. So people should take note. And I'm sure there are a lot of families who fall in this category, who are currently in limbo, who may go somewhere and then they have, for example, immigration officers coming to either their place of work or their house and then getting apprehended. And they may have younger children because those children are not yet 7 years. They can't make application to regular residency. They should not be detained. We've also looked at, we've also considered vulnerable adults who, for example, have mental health issues, those who have suffered torture, or if you're a woman. And so some people may have a lot of marks. They might claim that those marks was as a result of the fact that they were tortured. Yeah. And of course, again, I've relied on something of this nature to get somebody removed. Whereas, for example, a woman is claiming that he has gone through female genital mutilation, FGM. Obviously, if they are in doubt, they need to go the process of. So there are various ways that people can free themselves from being detained.
Lawyer, before you continue, viewers, we're still waiting for your calls. The number to call is 079 32 934 518. 079 32 934 518. And the other line is 0744 033 8623. This is your time, this is your opportunity for you to call to ask any question, any immigration question for lawyer to answer. This is your opportunity. Sometimes I do get people calling me, oh Chaka, I heard last week you guys talk. To be honest with you, anytime you call me, I'll refer you to lawyer, and that time it might not be free. So this is your opportunity to make sure that every question that you have, you ask lawyer right now. Because if you ask me and I do make a referral, you go to lawyer's office, that you pay, there will be charges. So please make sure you call right now. This program is proudly sponsored by City Law Solicitors. Address is Unit 113 Backen Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Backen, Excess, IG 118FG. Lawyer, what is the office number? Because a lot of people say they try to contact you. I know you're a very busy person, and you might not be able to answer calls, but I know at the office there are a lot of staff that they can respond to questions. So what is the office number for viewers, please?
Yes, once again, I want to repeat that, because even now that we are doing this program, people are still calling. It's not all the time that I'll be able to answer the phone lines. So it's important that people take the office number and then have it, so that in the event that they are trying to reach out to me and they can't get to me, they can call the office. There is always somebody there to answer the calls. My colleagues are there to answer these calls. So the office number is 020 33 55 0782. I want to repeat it. 020 33 55 0782. This is the office number. If for whatever reason you try to reach out to me, maybe I'm in court or I'm with a client, or for whatever reason I'm unable to answer, you can call the office number. There is always somebody there who will take note, and then your information can be passed on to me, and then I can relate to you once I've finished what I'm doing.
Okay then, lawyer, let me acknowledge a few viewers on Facebook who have dropped comments. As I said earlier on, if you drop your comment, I will definitely read a comment. So please make sure you subscribe, you drop your comment, and I'll read it out and give you a shout out. So Gina, I do say, good night, dear brothers. Good night, Gina. Alaska Ramatu, Alaska, yeah, I used to work with Alaska Ramatu at WBLS, Hajia. My only brother, Chaka. Bless you. Thank you very much, Ramatu. Ramatu is saying, please kindly share. Thank you very much, Alaska. Jenna Adise is watching. She is happy. Uzu Amaka Chuka, beautiful. Thank you very much, sister. Juliet Duver. Oh, hi. Juliet, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for watching. Cornelia says, Chaka, trust me, City Law Solicitors are saviors. All that people need to know is to be patient, because their problems will be 100% solved. Thank you very much. I agree with you, Cornelia. Adus Babes, keep it up, boss. Yes, thank you, Adus Babes. You always tune in Thank you very much. Adu's Barbers, if anybody wants a clean haircut or whatever, Adu's Barbers is the place to go. Where is Adu's Barbers located?
Croydon.
In Croydon. Adu's Barbers. Thank you very much. Ophelia Asiedo. Super. Thank you very much, Ophelia, for watching. Nana Ajimai. Nana is watching. Free legal education, Nana Ajimai. That's good. Nana is free. We're not charging here. But then if you don't call or if you don't listen to it here and they come to the office, then there'll be charges. Good work, Nana Ajimai. That's fine. So the phone lines are still open. Viewers, very informative. Thank you. That's Ebele Upa and Eric Ajay, Senior Eric Ajay. Senior, thank you very much for watching. So when people tune in, when people start watching the program, then we know we're bringing something educative on your way, and that will give us the motivation to do that over and over. So keep on watching City Law Solicitors. They are here to solve all your legal matters for you. All right, lawyer, continue with what you were saying and then wrap up before we go. We've got about 5 minutes to go anyway, so please wrap up and then we will sign off.
Yes, so as I was saying, even those who have served a custodial sentence and they are likely to be deported, they are also entitled to reviews, just like those who are illegal immigrants who are just held in detention pending removal. So if you are held in detention center because of the fact that there is a deportation order served on you, you are entitled to review, monthly review. And in those circumstances, if for example you have a child and you're relying on that for to make further human rights application, you can so do so. And also, there are cases, for example, where people have served custodial sentence, there is automatic deportation order in place, and those people, for example, have health issues. Now, if they have health issues, again, you cannot be kept in the detention. So, whether you say have deportation order imposed on you, as long as removal is not imminent, you have to get the right for bail or to be released pending your deportation. So, and these people fall within the category of vulnerable adults, those who have health issues, those who are 70 years and above, pregnant women, children under 18. So, these are the limitations of the Secretary of State powers. They are not entitled to detain everybody. But the fact is that if they are conducting these reviews, there are two reasons these reviews should be conducted. Because one, if the reviews are not conducted, then your detention becomes unlawful. And if the reviews are conducted and then you give out reasons why you should not be continue to be detained, then of course that could also be taken into account, and then bail application could be made. I'm sure next occasion we'll look at bail process, so I'm not going to delve so much into it. And finally, people who have been unlawfully detained. So if I ever judge your case and then I was able to establish unlawful detention and you came out, the bonanza for you is that you are entitled to compensation, which means that if the Secretary of State wrongfully detained you, then this matter could be taken into the civil court for you to claim compensation, which could be numerous sums of pounds. So people should take note that when they are detained unlawfully, it doesn't just end there. They are also entitled to financial remedy of compensation.
That is a very good news, that if you get detained unlawfully, you'll be entitled for compensation, which I believe City Law Solicitor can help you to claim this compensation. Thank you very much, lawyer, for taking your time to go through with us detention and unlawful detention. You've done really well today. You've taken your time, you've explained the law, you've educated us tonight. So thank you very much for doing this with us every Tuesday from 8:30 or 8:30 p.m. Viewers, this is where we will draw the curtain. But before then, I want to inform viewers that City Media Radio is coming up very shortly. City Media Radio very soon. For those of you who might not be able to subscribe or watch the video, you could listen to the online radio. City Media is still active, but now we're still going through some technical challenges. So once everything is resolved, City Media Radio will be live, and you could get the same program live on City Media Radio. If you go on Modern Ghana, look at the abroad or outside channels, City Media is there. City Media Radio is there. So please make sure you start checking it out. It's something that will benefit all of us. Every program that we do here, we have a lot of programs, entertainment programs, different programs on the radio anyway, and above all, the legal hour will be on this program. So thank you very much for watching. Lawyer is going to be here on Thursday, and everything that we've done today, you come with a free version. So for those of us that have deficit in the English language, who might not fully understand the English or have challenges in understanding the English language, you can listen to the free version, and everything that we've done today, you benefit from that as well. Same time on Thursday from 8:30 p.m. Lawyer will be here, and you will come with the free version. I'm your guest. I'm your host. My name is MC Chaka, Lawyer Thomas Beyebenwo. You've been our guest and our usual guest as always. Thank you very much for watching. It's been amazing having you on this program. Your motivation, your voice, your comments, they mean a lot to us. So please keep on tuning in with us, and we cherish that. Until we meet next week, MC Chaka, I will say thank you very much for watching and have a blessed evening. Thank you.